over 4 basic steps about summer flowering bulbs. Yes, I know, you're probably saying you're rushing it a little bit, Stacey. It isn't quite summer, but all of our gorgeous summer flowering bulbs have come in along with our seed potatoes and onion sets, and I just can't help myself. I need to pick out what I want and get them into my garden shed, so when it is time to plant them, they'll be there for me. So here are some of the 4 basic things that I want to go over. Number 1, when to plant summer flowering bulbs. Okay, this is where it gets a little confusing. Summer flowering bulbs are planted in the spring and then they bloom in the summer for us. We treat them like annuals here. Things like dinner plate dahlias, caladium, cannas, the most gorgeous cannas. This actually is called chocolate sunrise, which is a really neat name. And our cool elephant ears, which look like a big baked potato, but they'll grow up to be this gorgeous tropical foliage that we love. So these are some of the gorgeous bulbs, that you plant in the spring and they flower in the summer, and we treat them like annuals. So when to plant is to make sure that you get past all danger of frost. We've got to get all the way past May 15th and make sure that the ground is not frozen and that the soil temperatures are a bit warmer. So be a little patient, guys. But where are we going to plant these summer bulbs? One of the main things is do not plant them in a super wet area. Gina and I did a video last time called Dig, Drop, Done, and we planted some spring flowering bulbs. You plant those in the fall, and then this year so much snow has sat in that area where we planted, so we've been a little worried because it's a little bit wet and we're hoping that they're gonna make it through. So we make boo-boos too. So just make sure that that area is not too wet for your summer flowering bulbs. Number 3, how do we plant these bulbs? Okay, we always have a rule of thumb. You see, the height of this bulb is about 3 inches tall. You always want to dig down and put it down about 3 times the height of the bulb. So this is a 3-inch bulb, so we're going to dig it down about 9 inches deep. That's a really good rule of thumb to know how deep to dig your bulbs. Here's another thing that's really important when you are planting. Make sure the soil is nice and loose and rich. You can't have compaction in your soil. Always add some fertilizer. Bulb Tone is one of the best fertilizers for all kinds of bulbs. Put this into the planting hole when you are planting them. Then cover back up over your hole. If you have a real problem with squirrels digging up your bulbs, you can put some squirrel repellent down. That'll really help keep them away. Then cover with a layer of 2-inch mulch. The mulch will really help hold in that moisture, which is really important. The other thing is, once you've planted, don't let them completely dry out. You don't need to water them all the time, but about once a week through the season would really help your summer flowering bulbs. Okay, the last tip that we're going to talk about is what do we do with our bulbs when we get into the fall? Because remember, we're treating these like annuals. So you let them bloom beautifully for you throughout the summer. Then as soon as the bloom has withered up, you cut that flower stalk completely off, still leaving the foliage. That's really important. The foliage puts power back into the bulb, gives it energy again, so it'll rebloom for you next year. Then once we get kind of to our first frost in the fall, that's when you can cut down that foliage and you can dig up those bulbs. You do need to dig them up if you want to replant them next year. Then you need to store them in a cool, dry place. Most people store them in a little peat moss. Don't let them get like super dried out, but the peat moss will help them a little bit. And then guess what? You can replant them next season, and then you can enjoy those summer flowering bulbs next season as well. Thanks a bunch. See you next time.